Podcasting from Astrolab Studios, this is Continuum Drag, a weekly podcast where we revisit sci-fi, fantasy, and just plain weird shows that have faded from the collective consciousness and didn't quite make the impact that they intended. This week, Harsh Realm, episodes 5 and 6.
Hobbs, I've met people here. People I knew in the real world.
It's her.
No, it just looks like her. Everybody in the world has a copy here. That's how this whole thing is set up. But they're just VC files, not people.
She recognized me. She knows who I am.
She doesn't know she's part of some game. She doesn't know what's happened to you. She thinks this is all real.
She's in pain. How different is that from what you feel?
So you're gonna what, throw her over your shoulder? It's gonna be hard enough for us to get out of this place with these bugs in our heads.
I'm not gonna let her die here.
And I'm not getting killed so she can die somewhere else.
Welcome to Continuum Drag, the podcast that has a strange upswing in yoga-centric Instagram followers lately.
That's true.
What's up with that, Jordan? Are we good to listen to when you do yoga?
I don't know. It seemed like one woman who really likes yoga started following us, and then a lot of other women who like yoga thought, yeah, this is something for me. I want to know more about 1994's tech war.
Great.
Yeah.
That voice you're hearing is my co-host Jordan. I'm Luke, and we have a special treat today. We're joined by a guest, our good friend Courtney. How you doing, Courtney?
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Also, Dwayne's here. We should mention that Dwayne is sitting here silently.
Yes, Dwayne, our engineer, is sitting here silently, helping us get Courtney set up and ready for this episode. Hi, Dwayne. He's waving.
Also, the lights are a lot different today.
We dimmed the lights. It's really romantic in here. Mm-hmm. It's a good time to have a guest on the podcast. So, Courtney.
Yes.
What?
Sorry.
It's going great so far, everybody. So great. What did you know about Harsh Realm before you joined the show to watch these two episodes?
To be honest, I didn't know anything about it. When you asked me to come on the show and told me what the show was going to be, you said, did I know who Chris Carter was? Which I found very offensive because, of course, I watched X-Files. But other than that, I knew who he was. But like I just said, I didn't know that he really did anything else after that. So nothing, zero. And I tried not to. I even skipped your podcast today in preparation because I went in blind with these two episodes, which was maybe a mistake because I had no idea what was going on, which we can talk about.
That's the normal feeling that viewers have while watching Harsh Realm. It's confusion, a little bit of anger, and then sadness as the credits come on.
I definitely have a lot of questions, which I'm looking forward to getting into.
Well, this leads me to my next question here. Not for these two episodes, but if you were to tell someone what this show was, like a log line for this show, what would you say it was, Courtney?
Well, considering most of what I figured out about the show came from the intro sequence, where I got a lot of extra tips. It seemed like they were trapped in some sort of video game or something. Alternate reality, maybe. Two main guys, pretty cool actor, Terry O'Quinn, who I never saw in those two episodes, so I feel real cheated. Other than that, I'm not really sure.
It is true. He has like an actual regular cast billing, and he's not in every episode.
He's a real
He's
William
the
Shatner.
third list person,
Yeah.
and that made me think of Shatner. Actually,
I think
with what
Waters
you're
is
saying.
not even listed, and he's in more episodes.
I have a story about him.
Oh, good. We'll
come back to it.
We'll come back to it.
It's
Don't
not-
let me forget, though.
I've already made it sound better than it is, but it's okay.
Perfect, just like this podcast. So, obviously, we've talked a little bit about Harsh Realm. It came out between like 1999 and 2000. So if you weren't watching Harsh Realm, what were you doing in 1999?
So 99, I would have been in second year of university, third year of university. I started in 98, so yeah, that math makes sense. And yeah, going to film school.
All right, and this is a sub question of that, since we asked it when we started this episode. It kind of premiered and ran over the course of the millennium. What did you do for the millennium, Courtney? What was your party?
Oh my goodness. I don't remember, to be honest, what I did for the millennium, but I do remember one of my best friends growing up, Scott Robitaille, and I wanted to go to Times Square when we were like 6. Like we had this idea, like when it was 2000, we were going to go because we used to spend every year together. We did not do that. He just had a baby. Congratulations.
Shout out to Scott Robitaille.
Yeah. But no, I have no idea what I did for the actual party.
So hold on. What did that have to do with Scott Robitaille?
What I did on the Millennium.
Oh, you
New
hung
Year's.
out with him.
I didn't. I only remember what I used. We talked about it so much growing up.
Oh, I see.
Is
We
what
were
they
gonna
wanted
be
to do.
adults and we are gonna be able to go down and party. I think I was at a house party. Nothing.
I thought it was
nothing
a
to say.
setup for something. That's why.
It's not, and it's not a hockey player. It sounds like it could be, but it's not.
That's Luke Robitaille. For all those Luke Robitaille fans out there from the
Obviously,
mid-90s.
I know about as much
NHL.
about sports as I do about 90s sci-fi. So get ready.
Oh, I'm ready.
I did think of something like just because when I was trying to take some notes, when you said what did I know about the show, which was nothing. When it starts up, the car, pretty cool. That's what the pictures are on this thing.
Yeah.
I was
his
like, it looks
Mad
like the
Max car.
DeLorean. It's not a DeLorean, but I did an image search. It looked kind of like it. So again, not very much knowledge about the car, but I was pretty psyched that the car was in both episodes. So that was consistent.
For
One
the
thing-
listener, Courtney's notes actually have photos of both the DeLorean and the car from the show.
I did it for this. But anyway, the other thing that I was super, super excited about, which is way more exciting than this car picture, DB Sweeney. You did not tell me DB Sweeney was in the show.
Yeah, he seems. No, here's the thing. What is he normally from? Because we haven't
Okay,
we
who
haven't
is
gone
DB
through
Sweeney?
and
Okay.
we haven't done the whole like what are these actors stuff. But I know that he's popular because everything I've looked at, people are like DB Sweeney.
Yeah.
He's more popular than Harsh Realm. So tell me
Absolutely.
what you know.
So have you guys heard about a little known, or not so little known, I guess, but a movie called The Cutting Edge from the 90s, I think? 92.
Dwayne's giving a thumbs up. He
Right?
knows.
Someone told me about this
basically,
recently.
and we absolutely have to treat ourselves later to watch the trailer because it is amazing. I watched it last night and prepped for this. It was my best friend's, maybe still favorite movie growing up. I watched it 50 times, and it's about a skater, and he plays a hockey player, and then they become teammates to go back to the Olympics. And there's a great line where they just say toe pick, and anyone that has seen the movie, they will remember, and it is fantastic. So I was very happy to see him on this show. He was also in Fire in the Sky, which I really liked growing up also.
Oh yeah, I remember firing this guy.
Yeah, so that's a little bit more in theme with the show.
Yeah, maybe that's why Chris Carter cast him.
Yeah.
Hey, have you ever seen a movie 50 times?
50 times?
Yeah.
Never. Oh, no, wait. Jurassic Park.
I knew you were gonna say that. If I had seen a movie 50 times, you know what weirdly what it probably would have been is The Fugitive. Every time I was sick from school and I was like, there's a movie to watch. I'm like, let's see if he catches this one-armed man.
100%. I've lost my train of thought already. That's
DB
great.
Sweeney. You like DB Sweeney?
Well, I liked him that I remembered him, and I was like, that guy looks familiar. And then almost immediately, his name came up on the credits, which did remind me of what I was going to say, because you know who else is in The Cutting Edge? Terry O'Quinn. So
Oh, hello.
wow.
Well, how about that?
maybe that's how they found each other.
I don't know if the listener's aware. I don't know if you've IMDb'd this, but listen to this. But DB Sweeney is Pinocchio.
Oh, right. Sorry. Of course.
No, it's okay. I just
Yeah,
thought I'd
which
throw it
is
in there.
still we're into episode 5 and 6, and still at this point it's funny that his
It
name
is funny.
Pinocchio.
I wrote that down too.
like no, and not even like that's hilarious. It's like what? That's dumb. Why the name Pinocchio?
He's really got a Batman voice, and I noticed
Yeah.
also, which is not his character in the only thing I really remember him in. So it was fun to see.
He's
him
not
like this.
usually.
The other guy's pretty hot too, though, for early '90s. So I was in from that.
Fun
point.
fact about DB Sweeney. Do you know what DB stands for?
No.
Dick balls.
Do you want to know what it really stands for?
We'll cut that. What does it stand for, Courtney?
Well, I don't know actually what it stands for, but I know that apparently they say it's because every other version of his name, his actual name, was taken by somebody in the Screen Actors Guild. And they try not to have the same name, so he just shortened his names to that.
So what are the,
I didn't do enough research. I tried to do a little bit of research, but not too much.
It sounds to me like you almost like DB Sweeney as much as you like Christian Slater.
Not possible. But if you guys want to watch another show with him in it, I don't think he was in a lot of old TV shows, though.
Christian Slater?
Yeah. Movies.
No, he was in a lot of movies.
He's been in some shows that didn't quite make
Yeah,
the mark,
fair enough.
but that's a different podcast.
But that's not why you came to the podcast. You want to hear about Harsh Realm, not Christian Slater movies from the 1990s.
No, definitely not. But if you need an expert, let me know.
All right, should we get into it then?
Yeah, I
Let's do
think
it.
so.
All right, let's start off with episode 5, Reunion. As his real mother dies of cancer, Hobbs meets and nurses her dying counterpart in Harsh Realm. It's a real downer way to start this episode.
Yeah. And I have to say though, these two episodes, and we'll get obviously Courtney's opinion. I think I mentioned this in the previous episode that after episode 3, Chris Carter stopped writing these. I think he was still a showrunner, but different writers are writing these, and it's clearly gone up a level in terms of quality since he stopped writing it. At least I think so. Maybe we'll have different feelings as we go through these, but I think these 2 episodes compared to the last 2 episodes, and then especially compared to the first 2 episodes, have each gone up a level.
Oh, that's good to hear.
In my humble opinion.
That terrifies me.
Okay, that's
I was going
good.
to say that should make you happy, Courtney, but apparently it
Well, I mean, it's happy
upsets you.
I'm not going to go back and watch the rest.
Trust me,
now.
don't watch the pilot. It's atrociously bad.
Okay, great.
I wish we could go back in time, Luke, into some sort of harsh realm, and I could re-review that and give it like a 1.
I mean, that's not how Harsh Realm works, but okay.
Yeah. Does it not have some early? They go back into World War II. Can we not go back to 3 weeks?
Oh, right. We'll go through the simulation glitch
Yeah.
that takes us to the
Yeah.
early podcast.
Where we keep doing the same hour over and over.
That's our hell.
It's okay, Courtney. This is just for Luke and I.
No, it's really fun. I just hope we're gonna go over, like, can you explain some of the rules? Because that's what I spent most of the time. Like, I really didn't know it was
No, that's
happening.
good, actually. Should we talk about some of the rules as we've learned them so far in Harsh Realm?
Because I assume that they're not established right at the front.
Sure. I mean, if you want to go through, I'm trying to think what the rules are. So,
Well, here's what we've learned about Harsh Realm. So this may or may not make it more clear for you. Harsh Realm is a military computer program that was created so soldiers could train military type actions, military battles in simulation. Now, somehow this was taken over by a man named Santiago,
Terry Quinn.
who you won't see in these episodes. So he's the big bad guy. He's taken it over somehow. So the military keeps sending people into the game to try to kill him so that they can get the game back. And in the game, things are sometimes weird, sometimes not, but it's supposed to be an exact replica of our world. And how they did that was they scanned everyone in the world. So whatever you look like in the world, you end up in the game. It really doesn't hold up the actual world building. And through each episode, you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. And the reason it doesn't make sense is it's not a very well thought out program. That's about right?
that's
Luke?
about right.
That helps a lot. I did not glean
And that took us,
much.
to be fair, that took Luke and I about till episode 2 or 3 to figure that out because it's...
I will say, Melanie made a good point this week when she didn't watch it. She asked me, she's like, didn't you tell me the simulation was designed so they could go in and like prepare for battles? I'm like, yeah. He's like, but the soldiers die if they die in the game. So wouldn't you just be killing your actual soldiers? How are they training?
Wait, they die if they actually die in real
Yeah,
life?
so I forgot. So the game is populated by what they call VCs, which are virtual characters of people. So if you were in the game, there could be a fake version of you. But real people can go into the game. But if you die in Harsh Realm, your body dies in the real world. Like it kills your brain.
It's just like if you use an Oculus Rift or something.
Yeah.
just-
People are dying left,
you
right, and
just
center
die.
using those.
So the two main characters are copies of themselves or actually in the game?
They're both in the game.
As real people.
Yeah. They can't get out. They're military guys that got into the game and they can't get out.
Are we getting off track, Luke?
No, I mean, they are copies of themselves.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know
Yeah.
if that helps.
I mean,
Well, let's go through it. And let's
Okay.
go through it as if
And
you
you
have questions
can ask
along the way.
questions as we
Because
go.
somehow Luke and I now become an expert because I
love
think we're
it.
the only people who've watched this many episodes.
great. Well, yeah, I read that it got canceled after 3 episodes or something.
Yeah, and we're in
you're in
episode 5
5
and
I know.
6. So.
That made
So
me
you're
laugh.
one of a handful of people.
Even Chris Carter didn't watch
No
this
one in my
far.
office knew what I was talking about, so.
All right. So this episode starts with Hobbs and Pinocchio taking a trip to find Hobbs's childhood home in Harsh Realm. I mean, it looks like everything else in Harsh Realm in that it's a burnt out building.
And what I like, though, it had your classic thing in TV, which is people seemingly go on a long car ride, and then as soon as they get to their location, they get to the car and like, why are we here again? And I'm like, you guys couldn't have had this conversation on the entire car ride? So that thing happens where they get to Hobbs' home, and Pinocchio in his usual gruff way is like, there's nothing gonna be here.
Oh,
I was
I
like,
wrote-
well, why did you drive him all the way?
I wrote down what he wrote because they've taken a long road trip
Yeah.
to, I guess, maybe find Hobbs's mom. And Pinocchio's response to arriving is, whatever you're looking for, someone has already eaten it,
Yeah.
banged it, or burnt it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Now let me ask, when he said banged it, did he mean
Yeah, I think,
banged it? Or did he mean
I
like
think
banged
he was telling
it?
him.
I don't think he was talking about car crashes.
Right.
That was a very
right.
rude thing to say to someone about their mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
So-
I really banged that girl last night. You wouldn't believe the insurance rates after that car accident, that sort of thing.
So one of my immediate questions in the beginning of the show was how serialized it was. Again, watching the second 5 to 6, I was like, not very much, because they don't like. Did in the episode previous to this, did they go looking for or did they just start the episode?
They just start.
They just
there.
Have
started.
they mentioned his mother ever?
No.
Never.
Have
No,
we
and I
even-
guarantee they never will again.
Well, no, because she's been erased. Why would you need to and she was boring. What about the
By the way, Courtney's saying the woman who's dying of cancer was very boring to her. Oh, cancer. Move on.
well, I just thought it was so
Get
convenient.
lupus at least.
and then the fiance, is she in it more than once?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's fine.
Oh,
We can get back to
Sophie?
her.
Yeah.
We'll get to Sophie.
Boring Sophie.
Yeah, they go to this house. There's nothing there. They immediately get caught in nets that are shot at them.
Yeah, that was funny.
And once again, they're terrible, terrible military guys. They're always walking around corners and getting caught by stuff.
Yeah, people just throw nets over them and drag them off to some forced labor camp.
Yeah.
Which is like a lumber mill that's creating
Yeah.
wood so that Santiago can build his empire.
Yeah, because they said he was subcontracting it, and I like that he's really diversifying his fortunes there in Harsh Realm.
Yeah. Did you guys catch who the mill owner was?
Yes, it was what's his name? Toby. What's his
What's
face?
he from?
He's
Tobin Bell.
Tobin Bell. He's Jigsaw in the Saw movies.
Oh, I definitely have not seen those. I
But
almost
he ha-
worked on one.
But he has a great opening, which is the character keeps taking baths.
Yeah.
I love that. He's always in the bathtub.
It keeps coming up. And
That's
I-
a great character
wrote-
trait. So what would you say about the guy? Well, he takes a lot of baths.
In
Well, that's
really
one
dirty
thing.
water.
He's not even bathing himself. He has a woman there
No.
who bathes him.
Don't even.
No,
I
you know
have
what?
some stories.
I saw that and I thought, but this is how you should be using these VCs. They keep trying to tell the audience that like they're real people, but they're not. They're a computer. I'm like, yeah, why not have this person bathe you? They're not a real person.
Well, then there's no stakes at all. Then.
Exactly.
But I think
exactly.
I might
There's
have-
no
yeah.
stakes at all in Harsh Realm.
Yeah. Fair.
All right, Luke.
Anyway.
This is gonna be real hard for you to stay on track. Let me tell you now.
No, this is actually going just fine. This is getting through a lot of things we need to talk about this episode.
Anyway, so old Tobin Bell's getting a bath from a lady.
They bring Pinocchio and Hobbs in. They're now slaves of this lumber mill.
Yeah.
And in order to keep them there, they take out what they call skull bugs.
I loved it. I love the skull bugs.
Ugh,
I
gross.
wish there was more things like this in the show. I'm like, yes, finally, something weird and science fiction-y. Skull bugs.
It felt like that felt very X-Files.
A skull
Yeah.
bug is a little tiny robot drone with kind of a drill on its nose. They shoot into the back of your skull and it like crawls up. And then if you try to do something or escape, the guards will point a laser pointer at your forehead, which I guess allows the skull
It's
bug.
like a magnet thing. It will pull it out.
So like the skull bug drills through the center of your head, out your brain, and then out your forehead.
It's a very complicated way of controlling someone.
But the
is
thing
what
that
they're
was
saying.
crazy about that, and again, this is me not understanding the world, was when that happened, they didn't die.
No, I know. I thought the guy was going to die. So we're jumping
You're
ahead.
just lobotomized.
One guy has it happen, and then I was like, oh, well, he's dead. And it's like, then later on, he's just like raking up or something.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, just do that to everyone then. If they can still work, why not just
Exactly.
have them be mindless zombies?
I mean, he wasn't
speaking
very
of
good at his
zombies-
job afterward.
Right, fair enough.
Luke, can I say one more thing?
Yeah, go for it.
White eyes? What was that? Is that established before? Because they
No.
were like zombies.
No, I
No.
loved him.
So I thought maybe that's what was going to happen to the people after they got their drill bit accidents happen.
No, that makes sense. But
that
this
they
is
would
Harsh
turn
Realm.
into these zombies. But I was like, okay, this is a show about zombies?
No,
But they don't really, they just
this
have
is
white
never
eyes.
explained or ever gotten into on the show. The guards that work for Tobin Bell all have white eyes
Oh, it's all the the guards. Okay.
just at the lumber mill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's never
just
gone
here.
into. He just kind
Right.
of has like giant zombie looking guards who they never get into it, and they keep calling them hunters.
Yeah.
I guess
I think it was in an earlier script. There was something and that got left off.
It-
They
It's
forgot, and they
very
just thought,
Yeah.
just because they forgot to change that line, they had everyone put white contacts
Yeah.
on, got a special contact guy
Exactly.
in for the episode.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
they spent a lot of money to not get into
Yeah.
it. But yeah, they're now slaves of the lumber mill, and they actually get a bit of a surprise because after Pinocchio gets beat up for mouthing off, his specialty,
Yeah.
a medic comes by to look at him and pulls Hobbs aside, and he's like, I've got a special treat for you upstairs. And when they get up there, the medic has Hobbs's VC mother dying of cancer above the mill. I guess because she must have worked there at some point, but he's been
Yeah.
like, I guess he's got a little hospice for her.
Well, it was weird because I mean, gonna get into the weeds here, but it's like, oh, how would she even know that? Like, did she
Yeah.
describe him? She's like, okay, if a little Weasley blonde guy comes by, it might be my son. So just I'll probably be in a coma at that point. But just bring him on up. It's like, anyways, it doesn't really matter. But the whole point is that the mom's dying in Harsh Realm, and she's also dying in the real world. Is what you find.
in this cutaway. Basically, we go back to the real world where his fiancee Sophie is giving a whole bunch of voiceover about how she's going to visit his mother in the hospital because she's also dying of cancer. And basically, anytime Hobbs goes to visit his mom in Harsh Realm, we're going to cut back. We aren't going to. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. But the show cuts back and just has Sophie hanging out with the mom.
The only important thing to say
dies in
about Sophie
hospital.
is that she says at one point, because her voiceover is always letters that she's writing to Hobbs, and they write letters back and forth. And she says at one point that since he's been gone, the hours feel like years. And I thought that's exactly how the viewers feel watching Harsh Realm.
Or especially those sequences with her in them.
Yeah, the poor woman and the actress, she has nothing to do. They literally have her at one point just like looking out a window wistfully. That's all she does. That's the scene. She looks out a window. They don't know what to do with her.
Can we also talk about the transitions between those two worlds and how awful they are?
Yeah, they're
How
great.
would you describe them? I've tried before.
It's them from Transformers.
It's nothing like that.
No, it's like I mean, I can't reference that, but little boxed out, what are they, pixels, like pixels going across the screen.
Yeah, it's like a pixel wipe.
Yeah,
I
a
guess,
pixel wipe is
the
exactly what
closest.
it is, and it was super cheesy.
It is very cheesy, but it's the only.
Just in case we didn't know what was real and what was Harsh Realm, and that's when I was like, oh, they're going to do this every episode. They're going to go back to the real world. Apparently not, because I watched an entire episode and they didn't do it. So again,
They only go
just
back
added to
every
confusion.
couple episodes.
Well, that's an alright thing.
Do you have any questions about Sophie before we move on?
Is she boring? Yes.
Does she think that he's dead, or does she think that he is part of a military operation and she can't? Is he part, like, she's not sure?
She was told he was dead,
That's mean.
but a mysterious X-Files style deep throat woman told her that perhaps he's not.
Was it Florence who also doesn't show up in this episode? And
No, it
I
wasn't
missed her
Florence.
completely after watching her in 6?
Don't worry, Florence, they don't know what to do with her either.
Well, we'll talk about that later, but I
Yeah.
liked her and I want to see
Oh
her
yeah,
more.
she's a better character than the main characters.
This is good to bring up right now, actually.
Because they talk about her.
Pinocchio finds out about Hobbs's like dying VC mother at this point, and they bring up Florence is the name of the mute woman who they've never named up to this point. This has been
That's amazing. So
4
I was like, who is this
episodes,
character?
Yeah.
and they finally give her a name in an episode she isn't even in.
Yeah.
But she has this magical ability to heal people in Harsh Realm that's never been explained.
Right.
But in this particular episode, they do note that even if they took Hobbs's mom out of this mill, this VC woman, Florence wouldn't be able to heal her because the cancer was scanned into the code and she can only like cure damage that was caused in game. I guess it's like health insurance.
Well,
if
here's
it's a pre-existing condition.
well, that's what they implied. Not implied. They explicitly stated is that how you looked and what your condition was when you were scanned is how you were like in the game. So if you had like an unfortunate boil, you're gonna have a boil in Harsh Realm. If you had a herpes flare up, you got a herpes flare up in Harsh Realm. That's what we're learning. So this unfortunate woman had cancer, and so she's like, "Hey, look, I'm a digital person with cancer." Like, it's terrible.
Was the medic sort of like he felt like a little omnipresent, like he was like magical in
Was
some
he
way?
magical? I don't know.
Like,
He
does that
seemed
exist? Does that
magical.
exist?
He did
in this
seem
world?
magical.
Not
Because-
up to this point.
Okay.
But
We
you're
can go
right.
back to him,
He
but
does. He does seem magical. He knows who
Creepy
Hobbs
and
is.
magical.
He's taking care of this woman. He connects them. He does seem magical.
Okay.
Also, at this point, I'm just gonna bring it up because it comes up in every episode. But when Hobbs tells Pinocchio about his dying mother in Harsh Realm, I think every episode Pinocchio goes on a long explanation about how it's not a real person.
Yeah, he has to keep explaining to Hobbs every episode because every episode Hobbs is like, "I got to save this person," and Pinocchio's like, "They're not real people. It's a visual recreation." And every episode he's like, "It doesn't matter. I got to save this person."
Right.
And it's like, it's literally not real. And he's clearly I actually think at this point he may have a learning disability because they've explained it to him several times, and they're like, I think you might have a problem.
This episode, I started thinking, maybe I'm just a bad person. Maybe I should be more empathetic to like these non-player characters. Like maybe I shouldn't be driving over them in Grand Theft Auto 5.
If I was in Harsh Realm, I'd just be killing them all, just like just burning them all down and be like,
Not Westworld.
no, it's not Westworld.
Oh, but these violent delights have violent ends, Jordan.
Oh wow, ooh,
Like we planned
very
that.
eloquent.
We didn't, but that was great.
All he has to do is assassinate Santiago, and he's fuffing around all the time, and all he's got to do is go grab a blowtorch, blow out all these people, walk up to the building, kill Santiago, go home, and
But where is
enjoy the
Santiago?
baby that Sophie's gonna be having because they've implied that she's pregnant.
She's pregnant. I
Yeah,
didn't
I
catch
know.
that at all.
Yeah,
Oh, it
it
doesn't
doesn't.
come
Don't
up.
worry, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't.
She was a woman character, and they're like, "What do women do? They get pregnant." That was it. That's why she's pregnant.
Yeah.
And they look out windows wistfully.
I mean, moving on, we'll try to get through the rest of this episode. There's a brief escape attempt by Pinocchio and a couple of workers that like fails.
It was a pretty cool scene, actually. That was a good use of pipe and climbing and stuff. Like, I thought it was shot pretty well.
It was one of the better shot sequences. They kind of have all these low shots of them climbing up and down pipes as they're like trying to get out from under the lumber mill. But all of that really leads to nothing other than when these two guys try to escape, Tobin Bell notices that Hobbs and Pinocchio were both out of bed around the same time, so he suspects they were involved.
Understandably.
He's also going to lobotomize them, but Hobbs challenges him to a gamble of some sort.
Yeah, it was weird.
The rules were never clear on what he was offering either.
Yeah, he sort of was like, instead of lobotomizing us now, what if I could escape and then you don't lobotomize me? The guy's like, oh, a bet.
Yeah.
Well,
he should have been like, no.
He was trying to prove that his hunters were so massive and
superior.
Like to superior, it would probably act as a harsher like warning to the other inmates. I don't know what they are.
Yeah, I guess it's
fake people.
Hobbs, but Hobbs doesn't even have a plan to get out. He actually is like, after he makes the bet, he's like, "Oh, I just made that bet to buy myself some more time to hang out with my dying mom." And it's just like, what? That's not a plan. Yeah. To the point, this continues to escalate this non-plan because immediately after this, Pinocchio is really worried about Hobbs getting killed, so he decides to fight one of the guards, although I don't know how that would help him in the bet.
But what it did help us realize was apparently all you need to get rid of these little bugs in your head is get punched in the head a couple of times, and then they just come out by themselves.
Yeah, that was an easy way out. And they were just doctors like, I guess I'll just take this out of your head. It's like, yeah, that might be a good idea to take all these little bugs out of everyone's head.
When Pinocchio fights this guard, he gets punched a couple times, and when the medic comes to help him, the skull bug just climbs back out the way it came in, and the medic's like, I guess when you get punched in the head.
Yeah, the skull bug was like, I'm out of here.
To be fair, they sort of used the gun to put them in that he had taken off the hunter guy, but still, it was a little too easy. Head wounds bleed a lot. He was just ready to go.
You heard it here from Courtenay. Head wounds bleed a lot.
I do. I've dropped a camera on somebody. It's hard. It doesn't work. That's a side story.
Was that on purpose?
No, it was in film school, though. A Scoopik camera on a tripod too high above my actress/friend who was in the scene. And I was adjusting something, and it fell, and it hit her in the head, and then hit the floor. And I was like, oh my God, the camera's hit the floor. And I looked up, and it was just like gushing head wounds. And I'm like, okay, we're wrapped. We're going to the hospital.
How many years did you get for manslaughter?
She survived. She actually invited me to her wedding.
But she's the actress that only does roles where she lays down now, right?
Yeah, it was the lady in the show, actually.
Oh, right. What also a thankless role that this woman gets cast in what she is. She's like, you get to be in 2 universes. Oh, what do? You just lay in a bed.
For both.
You lay in a bed in both universes. Yeah. Dying of cancer.
I'm going to back us up for 2 seconds. This is a sequence with the fight is so hard to explain. But I guess it matters to the plot, but it's so confusing. Pinocchio gets in a fight with his guard. He throws the guard's skullbug gun over a fence. And then the mill owner, Tobin Bell's like, oh, go get your gun while he's laying on the ground. And he has a garage door button.
Yeah. What became clear is he apparently has some sort of remote control that is able to control elements.
The gate.
Yeah.
It does.
No, it doesn't.
At the beginning.
No, it didn't open the gate. It just erases part of
the gate.
So he has a button that is able to control certain elements of the universe. How we don't know.
Glitches the gate out of existence in the game and then glitches it back into place.
And so this poor unfortunate soul happened to be standing where the gate was.
Yeah, when the woman Tobin Bell forces to bathe him, she steals the button, and as the guard is standing mid gate, she turns it back on, and he is I guess the gate materializes in the center of him.
Yeah.
Hence, I guess, killing one guard. I don't really know what the point was, other than for him to lose his button.
Yeah,
he
lost
his button.
That
for
was
people to see
it.
that was their way out, because they didn't know that it was an option before that. I think. The girl does, because she knows about that thing.
Yeah, she's his Beth slave, I guess. It was very confusing, but I guess it got us to the point where they A, had a button to escape, and B, knew how to get the bug out. Although I thought they were just going to now punch Hobbs in the face. And
they got his out also.
But yeah, they just beat up another guard and used the gun to pull. It was a really weird sequence where a lot of things kind of randomly happened. It was very strange. But yeah, basically at this point, Pinocchio doesn't have a bug anymore. Hobbs doesn't have a bug. And so they just raid Tobin Bell's
But it has a great scene though, how they do it. So Tobin's taken another bath as he loves doing, and he starts getting a massage and he assumes it's the woman, but it's Pinocchio massaging him in a classic like, oh no. But what I was really hoping for was that he would just keep doing the massage for like a really, really long time. And he's like, and now your thighs, and now your feet. But he didn't. It was just like a quick like, can you believe it? I switched places.
Yeah, that all
Would've been
wrapped
funnier,
up
though.
fair. It would have been funnier, but they had to wrap up like the whole story in about 4 seconds. So.
Yeah.
They're like,
Well, because they
now
spent-
we're out. Now we can get out. We've got the button.
Well, they had to have a
him.
lot of scenes of Sophie looking out that window.
Did we skip over the mom?
No, we're getting there.
Because I have notes on that.
Because they basically now have control of the lumber mill, so they load Hobbs's VC mom into a truck because they're going to take her out of there. And like the medic and the woman who's being held captive there, they're like, oh, I guess you can all leave. And they're like, no, we're going to stay here.
Yeah, well, he was like, I'm a healer. It's my job to help people, sort of thing. Wasn't that what
nobody
it was?
has to stay there now. They've defeated the bad guy.
He just said he was a healer. He had to stay there.
And even
That
the
seemed to be his
woman
reason.
who was forced to bathe Tobin Bell, she's like, oh, I'm gonna stay at the mill as well, I think, now that
Yeah.
I have this button.
Yeah.
Well, she said what her line was. It was when she was leaving. She's like, I think I'll have someone draw me a bath.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. Yeah.
I wrote that down.
Her whole thing was she now wanted to be a dictator.
She wanted Tobin Bell to give her a gross bath.
Yeah. Same bathwater too.
Oh, God.
Ugh, gross.
But yeah, this is where we're coming up to when his mom dies, because they drive out of the camp and just drive her back to her gross, disgusting house. I'm like, why don't you just
Right,
drive
yeah.
her to like a nice hill with the sun rising to die on? They just like put her in a dark room of her own home to die in.
They already paid for that location, Luke.
Yeah, you're right. My
Yeah.
bad. And at this point, as she dies, we intercut between Harshram and the real world as Sophie watches the real mom die. And as they look into the mom's eyes, a portal opens and Sophie can see Hobbs in Harsh Realm, and Hobbs can see Sophie in the real world through the dying mom's eyes. This is all new information, Courtney.
This is all new.
and
Yeah.
I was like, this is.
Yeah. Mind blown.
I was just like, so cheesy.
Well, here's the thing though.
So cheesy.
Here's the thing though. They may be implying, and I might be giving too much to the show, that there is a connection between the two worlds that hasn't been revealed before, and that this woman who is now dying and so is somehow between two worlds is creating a connection. Now, I don't know. It may have been clumsily done, but
I think you can read it that way. I kind of feel like the writers meant it to be like poetic. I think this
You think
is not
so?
actually a rule of Harsh Realm.
That's
think this
what I
might
thought. I thought it was
just be someone's idea of like, it's very poetic.
my hope was that this was going to be something that was going to be explained in future episodes, where there are other ways to get to Harsh Realm other than these military
Through
chairs.
a dying woman's eyes.
Through a dying woman's eyes. Like,
You
hold
could
on,
climb
you just
in.
dive in.
Yeah, you just dive through Harsh Realm. Also, weirdly, between these two, and I think you might have were thinking this earlier when you talked about the magic medic, he is both. They reveal he's actually in the hospital with the dying mom in the real world at the same time that he's in Harsh Realm, like also kind of implying there's something magical about him. It's very weird.
Well, he's the one that sort of says that we can, like, I don't know.
Yeah, he seems to be like, he has all kinds of magical knowledge. It doesn't
If I
make a
hadn't
lot of
looked
sense.
up after, I would have thought he was Santiago because he seemed to have a lot of power, but I didn't know who he was yet. So
He's I don't think we'll ever see him again either. It was a very strange episode that I think they were trying to draw a lot of.
it was probably on his contract.
That's 5 for 5 for Hobbs. He's killed 5 for 5 virtual sidekick characters.
Yeah.
Every episode, he's killed a different sidekick character he's received.
Isn't Pinocchio his sidekick?
No, every episode they have a one-off sidekick who appears in the episode, who Hobbs gets killed. At
Is
some
they basically
point.
show up, they're like, I need someone who's got a key, and they're like, I have a key, and that person shows up. You're like, that person will be dead by the end of the episode. Every episode, that's what happens. It's the red shirt in Star Trek. That's what they are.
And this time it's his mom.
Yeah,
I don't know that reference. Sorry,
in Star Trek.
you
the
don't
red-
need to explain it to me. It's okay.
Let's move on.
That's a different show.
Hold
I
on,
don't need-
okay, hold on. It's the 23rd century. All right. So the Federation was formed. No, here's what I wanted to mention is that there was something weird, and again, I think I keep trying to maybe create more of a world and mythology than the show and the writers have done. But something we've learned is that they already talked about how people have populated this world because they've been scanned. What was weird was that they've implied in this episode that what was also scanned was your memories and your personality, because his mother was the same person she was in both worlds, right? And not only was she the same person, she had the same unfortunate disease, which was cancer. But in the first episode, when we see Sophie, it's just like a physical Sophie. She doesn't have the same memories because when Hobbs shows up, she doesn't even know who he is, and she's married to his best friend. So is there not an inconsistency there? Do you know what I mean?
I guess so. I don't think they've implied the personalities are.
But what?
scanned in.
So how did Hobbs's mother know who he was?
Well, I mean, presumably her birth records were scanned in, so she knows what her son looks like.
Yeah, but why wouldn't Sophie? I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Your face, Jordan.
No, it doesn't make sense. I'm just saying, his mom knows who he is, but he goes into the world and his fiance doesn't know who he is. Come on, guys, not buying it. I just like that.
You guys, there's a lot of questions still. Let's move on to episode 2, and we'll figure it out from there.
Sounds good.
Episode 6, 3%ers.
What's happening to us?
Our images were scanned by the lake, copied into new files. Copies which are now luring people to the lake to make new copies.
Why are we getting weak?
I think our information's being drained, slowly being stolen by the doubles.
It's what happened to the girl. Why Florence couldn't heal her.
The lake's a programming screw-up with its own digital mission to multiply and replicate. All that non-violence crap is because the copies are fragile, easily erased.
Why don't they just kill us?
Because they need us.
For what?
Bait.
Hobbs and his friends encounter a group of deserters whose compound is located near a beautiful lake that harbors a strange secret.
Mm-hmm.
It opens up on this family of 3, this mom and dad and this little daughter walking down the road. I couldn't quite follow it. I guess they're looking for supplies, and they're either hiding from Santiago's army or trying to find them. It wasn't clear to me.
Well, I took it from the little that I could glean from the beginning that they heard there were some sort of deserters. They were going to get the supplies. They were trying to avoid everybody.
Oh, okay.
They just wanted to be off on their own with food.
They get very thirsty on their walk, so they decide to go to a lake and drink some water, which I immediately was like, don't
Beaver
drink
fever.
water out of a lake. Yeah, exactly.
Beaver fever?
That's what it's called. When you get sick from drinking lake water.
Did you not
It's
know
a real
this?
thing.
Do you not know this?
That's what I thought it was. It was way worse than that in the end. But
yeah, they drink out of the lake, and then they cut, and it's nighttime. The little girls wandered away, and the parents are very sick. I'm like, don't drink out of a lake, you guys. But about a dozen people wander out of the woods around them, and in the group of people are the parents' exact double with a double of their daughter.
It was a real X-Files type opening to a show where you're like,
Big mystery.
yeah, big mystery of like, how could there be 2?
well, and again, I don't know the rules, so I was like, what is happening? And where are the people that I just watched in an episode? Like, I was very confused.
By the way, I love that Courtenay is the representation of anyone who would be watching Harsh Realm. I think that's the reaction people would have.
I will tell you 100% if I just happened onto the show now. I can't speak to the 1999 because, give it a bit of credit, I guess, but I would not keep watching.
No, you'd be switching over to see Dharma and Greg.
I didn't really watch that.
How was that? I pulled that off the top of my head of a show that would be on 1999.
I wish
It's also back.
remembered.
Is it back?
No.
Sure, why not? Haven't they rebooted it yet?
No, why not?
I mean, it's probably in the works, but that's really
until Dharma makes a racist comment.
too soon.
Oh, too soon, Roseanne. Too soon.
All right, this leads us into title credit to let us know we are in the Adirondack Mountains of Harsh Realm. Waters, who, Courtenay, for your information, is a former friend of Hobbs from the real world, turned enemy in Harsh Realm.
Oh, interesting.
It's
Okay.
there with Santiago's army trying to find this missing unit that the family alluded to earlier.
But Santiago's not in the episode.
He is not in the episode.
They just talked
These
about
are
it
his
again.
like minions
Yeah.
he sent out.
Yeah, but
Did anyone else think that kid was a little weird looking?
oh, she was absolutely terrifying.
I know she's terrifying, but
Super
I hesitate to mention because
I don't think there was anything wrong with her or anything. I think it was just that
okay,
she was.
but I was just like, oh, she's
her
weird
hair,
looking.
like she seemed like
You think so?
dressed a little. Yeah.
They added like her eye. They made her look like she had like she'd be doing long hours on set.
Blonde children in those type of things, like you just think Village of the Dam. Like it's
Yeah.
just terrifying. Like it's just she meant well. She was terrifying.
Yeah,
Like I didn't know. I thought like she might be the leader. She could have been Santiago.
yeah, better episode.
I didn't know.
For all you knew, she could have been Santiago.
Yeah.
But yeah, Waters is there trying to find his missing people. Hobbs, Pinocchio, and Florence, who's back this episode,
Thank
is
God.
also there. And they're it's not clear why they're here, other than they're also trying to find this missing unit supplies.
Yeah.
And also, they state that they haven't eaten in a whole day, and they're quite hungry.
Can I interject one thing?
Mm-hmm.
Is this when we see the dog? Where did the dog come from?
Oh, the dog's a character on the show.
Yeah,
Is it Florence's dog?
No, it's Hobbs's dog.
Oh my god.
The funny thing about the dog, you'll find out, is that
He's
they always
very
have.
cute.
He's a very cute dog. They have to find scenes for him all the time. So he'll either have a scene where like he runs and does something, or they'll have to go, well, we can't have a dog here. So they'll be like, he'll just disappear, and then later on they'll be like, oh, he was in the tree the whole time. That happens constantly in this show.
Like in that, under all that stuff when he was hidden in the car, when they revealed that he was
Exactly.
there and he was fine still.
Yeah, well, in this episode, I mean, this doesn't affect it at all. They'll come back to the car a couple times, and they've like basically left the dog locked in the car for 2 or 3 days.
Definitely dead. Can we talk about Florence a little bit?
Sure. I mean, I was going to say at
We
this
can get to
point,
it.
Florence actually goes out weather hunting around and finds the little girl.
Yeah.
Who's now wandering around. What was your question about Florence?
Well, why isn't she in every episode? Because she was great. She's from Toronto, apparently. Looked her up. I wasn't sure until about halfway through the episode if she actually didn't speak or they were just not writing women lines in the show.
It's a little bit of both. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I thought she was interesting. Had a good look.
No, she's way more interesting than the two leads.
This
There's no
is
question
the
about
most screen time she's had.
Yeah. Okay.
Usually they treat her like the dog and lose her midway through the episode.
it. Yeah.
You think that as somebody with magical powers to heal you, you'd keep
It's
pretty
so
close.
they have to lose her so that Pinocchio can get great lines like, "What do we have here? Yogi Boo Boo in the picnic basket."
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Did he say that in this?
Yeah, he said that in this episode, and I thought they want to have him as this like kind of comic relief, but that's about as funny a line as he gets.
I did write. There was 2 other ones in this episode. I didn't actually write the joke, but it was like the 3 men and a baby joke,
Oh yeah, he
Yeah.
also did that joke. That's
which
his
was very
references are real
topical
weird.
to like the time period. I think. Which I mean,
I don't
like.
think it was topical to 1999.
No.
'Cause- no,
When did
no,
that
no.
come out in the 80s?
I'm
Must
looking
have
it
been.
up.
Must have
Yeah,
been.
it was an 80s
That
movie.
makes sense. And we'll get to it in the thing. But my favorite line of the entire 2 episodes: "Smells like barbecue. Smells like trouble."
Oh, I missed that.
No, it was so good.
When did they say that?
When they were first getting into the camp.
Oh, great. We're
Where we
about
are.
there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Luke, let me cut you off real quick. 3 Men and a Baby came out in 1987, and its sequel, 3 Men and a Little Lady, came out in 1990. So even in 1999, that's a pretty bad reference.
Yeah, fair.
Thanks for the quick fact check, Jordan. Florence finds the little girl. She's very sick.
Mm-hmm.
And Florence can't heal her for some reason. So she's a little off put by that. Her healing powers have a lot of caveats.
A lot of limitations.
Yes,
So-
Courtney, with your hand up.
So again, maybe I'm trying to combine the 2 episodes too much, but you said that some people, like Hobbs and Pinocchio, are real people in this world. Do you think that the original family that gets sick are real people, are human beings?
I think they are VCs.
They're all just 2 copies of the VCs.
Usually the only people who are real in Harsh Realm are military people because it's a military simulation.
Yeah.
And the military has been sending more and more people in there to kill Santiago.
Again, lessens the stakes, but okay.
At this point, I think we're led to believe, though it's not clear, that Florence might even be a VC. But they just haven't got into it. They've implied, but
Okay.
that might be a reveal later.
But you're right. It is a actual problem with the show, which is all of these people are not real people. So it's hard to be
Not
empathetic.
if we are like Hobbs and we think they are worth saving.
Yeah,
even
Hobbs
if-
thinks that everything was worth saving.
Well,
but again,
here's a reason why you'd want to save them, because if they die in the real world, if they get killed, then you're saving the real
Oh no
version.
no! Sorry, that's our bad.
Yeah.
You don't die in the real world. Like if you were in the unless you were put into the game by the military.
Okay, so Hobbs would die in the real world because he's
his
here,
head,
actually here.
his head
Exactly.
has wires going into it. Back in the real world.
yeah, but these other people are just scans. It's the
Yeah,
equivalent
no,
of
sorry, I misunderstood.
they're just photocopies.
Yeah, no, I get it.
As an example, Sophie's virtual character was killed in the first episode. Very much alive in the real world.
Caught it. Okay, we can move on. It's fine.
Courtney's so angry right now.
I'm not angry.
Again, she's a representation of
I
a
have a
harsh
lot
realm
less
audience.
notes, let's say, on the second episode because I was just like, okay,
All right.
this is what we're getting into.
Florence finds the little girl. She's sick. She can't heal her. At the exact same time, Waters' military guys find the same little girl, but a healthy version, her double. This little girl leads them to the lake.
The scary lake.
Because they're like, where's our missing military friends? Will you show us? She's like, yes, follow me to the lake. And as they get to the lake, she points down at the reflections. The military guys look in. They're like, what's she pointing at? I don't know. They walk away. The reflections stay in the lake.
I liked that.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it too.
It's a bit of a mystery. Something's going on with this lake.
Point Harsh Realm.
Point Harsh Realm.
Can I say something else about have we seen the camp yet?
No, that's actually where we go right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because after we see this reflection, Hobbs and Pinocchio and the whole gang kind of wander into this commune. It's like a very hippie-ish kind of camp in the woods.
Very peaceful.
Does it remind anyone else of Walking Dead?
I don't watch it,
So I didn't
watch it either.
I haven't watched most of it. I saw the first 2 seasons and then happened to see the finale of 3 or 4. I can't remember. I was with a friend and it was on at a bar. We watched it.
Was it Robitaille?
It wasn't. There's a whole season, I think. They go to this kind of lovely town and there's like a town mayor or something. He ends up being like the worst character that's been on it. Like he's really savage. Anyway, this whole village kind of really nice. Everyone's peaceful. Everyone's sharing. No violence. It was very similar. And it's basically this town.
All right, Jordan.
They ripped it off, apparently.
Take a quick note. 150. I will cut all that.
Wow.
That's harsh.
That's
harsh realm.
That was Harsh Realm.
It's a real thing. People that watch the show will.
Oh, no.
know it.
People love... I'm on your
fine.
side. People really do like The Walking Dead.
Oh, is it too...
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I just thought you guys would know it, so it wouldn't be. I wouldn't have to explain it.
We have no time to watch news shows.
We only watch
I mean,
Harsh
I think
Realm.
this is like 6 seasons ago, to be honest, because I think there's like 75 seasons of Walking Dead. Anyway,
All right, but yeah, they go into this village, this little town.
and there's a lady washing her clothes with her breast falling out.
That was my favorite part of the episode because they walk by and they're like, ooh, hubba, hubba. And there's no reason for it at all. I loved it.
Zero reason for it. The only reason is that she comes back later, like fully dressed, with like, you know.
Yeah, I didn't even
and it
recognize. Did
doesn't-
she come back?
Yeah,
I was
she's
too
the one
busy.
that he chases out into the woods.
I was trying to remember. I'm
But that
like,
could have been
which
done
one's
in
breasts
so
were they?
many
And I
different
couldn't remember.
ways. Like it's just like, oh my god.
No, but
There's like
so
3 women in the show.
They
and they're
come
just
to the
awful.
camp. Look, this is not great representation. We can get into it. There's literally no people of any ethnicity other than white in this show.
Yeah.
Let alone the women. Like, there's a lot of problems with representation in this show that we could get into if we really wanted to. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here. No, it's okay.
No, that was good.
It's right. You're not wrong. The female characters aren't
But
terribly
it's
written
also
in this
just
show.
so pointed because you're like, he's noticing her. She's going to come back. Like that's the only reason I knew that it was the same person. I didn't need to. He could have just followed her out later. It wouldn't have. Didn't
Well,
need to establish.
what we're going to say is Hobbs and Pinocchio start having an argument about should they stay in this camp or not. And from what I wrote down, the only argument that Tom sort of used to win over Pinocchio was, I'm hungry. And they were like, all right, I guess we'll stay in this camp.
That might have be when they said, smells like barbecue, smells like trouble.
Right.
That might be where that line happened. I can't believe you missed that.
Was that Noam Chomsky who originally said that?
I think so.
I missed that. I also didn't realize that the woman Pinocchio leers at as he walks into the camp, there was the woman he would follow later, but that makes perfect sense.
I mean, I didn't like.
I mean, Pinocchio's
Check,
a creep,
but-
so it makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a leader of the camp who's like, if you want to eat and have some food and stay here, you'll be safe, but you have to give up all your weapons.
Yeah.
Pinocchio is not into it, but Hobbs, as Jordan has said, is very, very hungry.
And then they go, okay, I guess if you're hungry, we'll stay here.
So they give up their weapons and they go get a soup from like a mess kitchen, like chef who's like dishing out soup.
I knew there's something wrong with that soup right away.
Yeah. Well, you're right.
Yeah.
You and Pinocchio caught on. No one else is eating their soup. So he knocks that soup out of
Wasn't it
Hobbs'
weird though?
hands.
They're at this like essentially like a mess tent, and everyone's sitting there with the soup, and he's like, "Don't eat the soup!" And he knocks the soup to the wall, and no one really responds, and then no one does anything. And I kept thinking, I'm like, who's cleaning that soup up later? They just have the soup all over the wall, the floor. And he's a guest. You think, sorry guys, I have a bit of a spastic thing with my arms. Didn't mean to. Let me clean the soup up. But he just leaves it.
Well, I
Classic
mean,
Pinocchio.
Hobbs is the saint. He should really be the one who cleans it up.
Yeah.
100%.
Ugh, he's so boring. Didn't you find him boring, Courtney?
Well, my allegiances were already with DB, so.
Yeah. Who's a real dirtbag.
Real
on the show.
dirtbag, yeah.
Dirtbag Sweeney?
I would say for sure I did write a note that I liked him less as the episodes went on, like as a character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's at this point too.
Let's say I don't think his career blew up after this show. I think the highlight might have been.
I think
the
he's
cutting
been
edge.
working pretty steady.
Yeah.
Of the cast, I think he's been doing okay.
All right.
For future episodes, we'll talk about.
Jordan's been looking into it for us. But yeah, to your point, they leave the mess hall without eating and kind of try to go to sleep. But Pinocchio's too like amped up, so he sees that woman from earlier and kind of follows her out to the lake. And when he gets there, he gets reflected in the lake, and people come out of the woods. And next time we see him,
He's all in for the camp.
he's very excited about staying at this camp. So we know he's been doubled.
I know they want to show that he's a little different, but he's also just acting like really, really weird. Like he hasn't really been doubled. He's like a lobotomized version of
But
himself.
you already said that Hobbs isn't very smart, so.
No, it's Pinocchio that's been doubled.
I
Not
know,
Hobbs.
no, but Hobbs doesn't notice.
No, that's true. He wouldn't notice at all. It could have been a different person. And he goes, I'm Pinocchio. And he'd be like, yeah, it looks right to me. He's so dumb. I can't stand him.
And Pinocchio at this point manages to entice Florence to the water. Like he grabs the little girl that Florence is taking care of and drags her to the lake, which gets Florence to the water, which then in turn gets her doubled. And basically the only one left is Hobbs, who is just not picking up on what's happening.
Yeah.
He actually, I think he comes back to camp after all of his friends have turned into doubles and says, hey, you guys, I think there's something wrong with the water. He like tries to warn all the doubles there might be a problem with the water. And at which point they manage to drag him to the lake, or Florence like tricks him into going to the lake, and he also gets doubled. Do you remember this?
Is that when the weird, like, chest-like piece came out of the water? I like that effect.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what happens is we see for the first time how a double is made when they take Hobbs there.
It was Hobbs that happened to. Yeah,
The water is sort of like T2000, T1000.
You know what? I
Yeah.
actually it made me think of TLC's Waterfalls. Remember that music video?
Vaguely?
Don't go chasing
I
waterfalls.
know the song well.
And they all turn into like water people at one point. That's what it reminded me of.
That's interesting. But yeah, a double of Hobbs morphs out of the water, and we know now that they've all been doubled.
So if everyone is doubled by looking at the water and they're just reflected, why do they even go through the whole song and dance of having people welcome to the camp and they eat the food and all that stuff? Like, why don't when people come, they just grab them and take them down and just put them to the water?
Well, we're
And
getting to that right now, actually.
I'm just saying, but right off the bat, like, why even bother with all...
No, there's a reason.
Oh,
They
is
get
there?
into it in the episode.
Oh, I don't remember.
I think I missed that too.
I'll tell you, because we're going to go back in a second, but now that Hobbs has been doubled, we finally see what's been happening to them, because the doubles sort of drag him down into this cage, like dog kennel cage place where they have all the like original people caged up while the doubles walk around, and it's pretty much over for them. They've all been trapped. So we finally cut back to Waters, who's been like wandering around this whole time trying to find his people. Go ahead.
Can I tell you my connection to Waters now?
Oh yeah, Waters. Tell us how you know him.
He was in Pacific Rim. McMillan or something. I don't know.
No, Matt. I think it is
Max McMillan or something. I don't know. Maximilian. I don't know. It was a crazy name.
It's Max Martini. I think.
Martini. That's exactly who it is. But anyway.
Max Martini. Who is he?
I mean,
who is in episode?
He plays one of the team in Pacific Rim, and there's a dad, and they have the dog.
Was he nice?
He was nice.
Did you get him some water?
I don't know. I was a production coordinator on that.
Oh,
one.
yeah.
I
The
didn't
little
have
bit
to
of
get water.
information you need there is that Courtenay worked on Pacific Rim. That's a little bit of missing information
Right,
there.
sorry about that. Yeah, I was like, he looked familiar, and then I was like, that name looks familiar, and then I clicked on it, and it was...
So no good Max Martini stories.
No,
for
that
us?
was the story that I worked on a movie with him.
And he was nice.
And he was nice. He was nice.
There you go.
Not a very good story, sorry.
No, that was great.
It's all right.
We never met anybody.
Yeah,
Who have you met, Jordan?
Jordan
Nobody.
always likes me to tell Pacific Rim stories. So.
I do. I
You
do.
love that movie,
It's
right?
good enough for Pacific Rim. It's good enough for us.
There
You know?
it is.
That's just a joke for Courtney and I. We could cut that out.
No, we can leave it. It was great. Okay. Good story, Courtney.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But yeah, he's a repeating character.
Yeah, he's a repeating character.
He's sort of like a conflicted bad guy.
Because he's his best friend in real life.
But
Yeah.
since
But
he's
in-
come to this world,
So is he the one that's dating Sophie?
Yeah.
world.
In this
So
world?
in the new world,
Ooh.
he started nailing the guy's fiance.
That's tough.
so that's
Yeah.
kind of why there's a bit of a animosity. And he also shot her later and killed her. So
yeah.
the
It wasn't a good
virtual character.
relationship.
He didn't seem that bad of a guy. He
He's
just seemed to be
not.
doing his
Hobbs
job.
just has some problems.
To be fair, she asked for it. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Cut that out.
Kidding.
I don't want people to think that he's that bad.
Who, Waters?
You.
I was joking.
It never comes across like he's joking.
I know. That's why you
Oh,
should
is that
cut
right?
it sometimes.
I cut things out.
Sorry.
Anyway,
Sorry.
we cut back to Waters, and he's still trying to find his military guys. And this is where it comes up as to why they don't just drag people to the water
I don't
when
remember.
they get there. because Waters finds the double little girl again. Mm-hmm. And he's like, where are my people? What's going on? And she's like, kind of like, oh, just follow me. And he grabs her and he's like, hey, no, why don't you just tell me? And he shakes her and she immediately dematerializes.
Right.
Oh
yeah, because they're like fragile, right?
Oh, they're fragile.
And that's what we get
That's
to learn
right.
here is Waters is basically the only character out of captivity. And his crew starts telling him, it's like, hey, this lake's not in any of our maps.
Right.
So this lake shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And they start talking about how Harsh Realm apparently has a 3% error rate in the game. So something has overwritten the program and put this lake in. And what we're starting to learn is, and what we kind of learned from these cages and from Waters, is that these doubles are being produced by the lake. They're just digital copies, and they need to keep the originals alive as they take their digital information from them. And they're very weak until they steal all the digital information away from them.
Right.
That's why everyone in those cages is sick.
And they're
Although
getting worse.
I thought it was because they were just starving to death, which made more sense to me. But it's because their data is being sapped away from them.
They're basically, it's like a succubus.
You know what they could have used to help them get out of those cages? Some zip files. Am I right? That's a little thing only for
That's
the
from,
guy.
that's from the last episode.
There's little versions of people in there called zip files.
Really?
Yeah, cute, right?
They
My
are,
eyes lit up.
they are very cute. It's true. So Waters actually invades the camp now and kind of takes all the doubles hostage because he's like, what happened to my people? What happened to Hobbs? I guess his people are there because they're all like, he thinks they've deserted because they're doubles there. And all his men are very hungry, so they decide to go into the camp and have some soup.
Yeah, I loved it. This is my favorite part of the episode.
And two things happen when they're having soup that alerts Waters that something is wrong. One is the double of Hobbs walks in and just gives himself up, which Waters is just like, Hobbs would never do that. And the second one is
can I cut you up? What he actually says, I wrote it down. He goes, "You're always a brave man, Tom, but never stupid." I could not disagree more.
that was his clue, is that Hobbs would never do something this stupid.
What he should have known it was a double if he was there like reading a book, and he'd be like, "Wait a minute, that's not." Everybody knows that Hobbs can't read. Anyways,
You make a very good point.
Yeah, thank you.
You make a very good point. The other thing that clues him in is one of his men is eating the soup. And up to this point, I thought they didn't want to eat the soup because the soup was what was going to double them.
I thought that too at the beginning of the
But
episode.
no, you didn't want to eat the soup because the soup has a human toe in it.
It's people. It's people.
And I guess that's
Yeah.
the barbecue line. What they're smelling is roasted people. So
It's the dead bodies after they get doubled and they're done doubling.
Oh, so it's when they're already dead. I thought
When
they
they
were
die.
I thought they were just slowly taking pieces.
They
of them
might have
off.
actually, you know what, there was an inference
you
to
do
that actually.
you do actually get that later because what
You're right,
happens is now that they know something's wrong, we get a quick cut back to the cages and the little girl wanders down, who's kind of been the real little girl wanders. It's so weird.
The real double.
For the real virtual character who's not a double virtual character, but not the real one from the real
She's
world.
the first copy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but
It's
Waters
like multiplicity.
It is like multiple.
Waters says at this point, like, he sees the soup and he goes, "I know where they are now." And then they just cut to the cages. I was like,
Yeah,
wait a minute.
that
He
made
needed
no
to
sense.
see. He needed to see the toe soup before he could realize. So he knew the cages were there, but he just thought, just leave them over there.
They were just like in the back somewhere?
Yeah, they're like in another cabin. I don't know.
It was unlikely.
It's very weird. Before Waters can figure out where they are, though, the little girl wanders in and she grabs a set of keys and unlocks all the doors for Hobbs and Pinocchio and Florence and her parents so they can escape before Waters gets there. And actually, this is
Hobbs asked her to unlock his first, though, which I thought was real ballsy.
Hobbs first, please. But this is exactly like what happened in Riverworld.
That's right. It is. Yeah.
The little girl comes and sort of in the most hopeless moment saves everybody.
Yeah.
I haven't thought of it as a trope, but I wonder if we'll see that more as we go through.
Yeah. I didn't even realize that.
As soon as they escape, Waters busts in and like this is what you were saying is he sees some of his men and like one of their legs has been partly cut off. Like they're like butchering them alive for meat. Hobbs busts in, he breaks his people out, dude getting his leg cut off. Hobbs meanwhile is back up running away from the camp, but before they leave he knows in order to save their lives for real he has to kill their doubles. So he like goes and like shoots up the doubles of them so they'll stop stealing their data.
Right, because they're all lined up waiting while they're figuring all this out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they steal a truck, which have you noticed this in the show? So many episodes end with them stealing a truck.
A specific
Or
one?
it's think about it. I know there was the one where there was the explosion on the truck.
Last episode, they stole the truck
to take
to
the mom
get the
out.
mom out.
Oh, that's true. It's at least been 3 times.
When they go to Santiago City, they steal a truck to drive into Santiago City. They steal a truck, like they steal the same truck on the show a lot.
Yeah,
it
this
is
is probably
always
the
the
same
same
truck.
truck. But yeah, they steal a
Is
truck.
it actually the same truck? Like the same style of truck?
Probably.
I mean, it's
Like it's
always a
Land
military
Rover? Yeah.
vehicle.
Yeah.
But yeah, they steal this truck full of supplies, which they then hand off to the family. They're like, here's some
Yes.
supplies for you so you'll be okay. And then they get in their car and kind of drive away and finally take the dog out for a pee. It's been stuck in there
It's
for
been
a
stuck
while.
in the car the whole time.
And Waters cuts back to Waters, and Waters is like talking to the guy who runs the camp, and he's going to execute all the doubles because they're weird and doubly. And the double warns him that like the lake can't be destroyed. And I only bring this up, like the idea that these doubles would tell him like you can't destroy us, even though they obviously can be killed, but that the lake maybe can't be destroyed. I only bring it up because the title of this episode is 3%ers. So the implication being the 3% of is a glitch. 3% of is an error. Is this lake going to keep coming back? Are these 3%ers? Is this like now a running villain?
I think they just wanted to leave it open with the possibility that they would come back.
It would be a good thing to come back to. If
But
you
they're not
had the
going
option.
to.
Like, there's this-
we know they're not going to come
There's
back.
this 3% error that's going to be a constant like side villain they have to fight.
I would say there's a 3% chance they'll come back.
Nailed it.
Thank you.
Nailed it. But yeah, I mean, that unless anyone else has any other thoughts, like that wraps up the episode. But I mean, does anyone have any final thoughts on either of these episodes?
Well, one of the things that I was very excited about when it started, that I noticed right away that I was impressed with myself on, I was like, this is the same music. It has to be the same music as X-Files.
Yeah, it is. It's Mark Snow. Yeah.
So, and I don't know that many composers, but I was just like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, yes.
No, you make a
almost
good
exact.
point. It's
Like, there's a lot of similar aesthetic.
Yeah.
Similar, like the text on the screen. I'm like, change it up, man.
No, Chris Carter knows what he likes.
Yeah.
It's true.
Anyway,
It's true.
the music was fine.
We've said this before, but if it had gone on, I wouldn't be surprised if it crossed over with the X-Files.
Like
Oh,
they
yeah.
had an actual episode.
Yeah. There's no reason they couldn't exist in the
Did
same world.
and this is, I just don't remember this, and maybe you've covered this already, but X-Files, did they run at the same time at all? Or was one,
Yep.
it was, okay.
Yeah.
This would have been happening at the same time.
Yeah, Chris Carter was actually hoping to end the X-Files, and he thought this was going to be his new show that was going to go
And when did
on.
Millennium happen? Was that
It had
after?
just been canceled.
Yeah.
Right before this?
Yeah, it had run in 3 or 4 seasons, and had just been canceled.
Okay.
All right. Do you guys want to rate these shows?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll start with Reunion. Courtney, you're the guest. We usually do it out of 10.
Oh, I know. I listened to the show. Is it okay that I changed my thoughts on one after a 5 after I watched 6?
Absolutely. There's no wrong answers here.
No.
No, there's not. But I'll tell you. So I started with a 6, and then I went down to a 5.
Ooh.
I got a 5.
You're gonna go in with a 5, eh?
5.
Yeah, well, Luke, what do you think?
I'm gonna get a 4.5.
I thought you said this was better.
I like the last week's episodes better. This one was a little
You guys are going to be really upset with me. I'm giving it a 7.
a
that's fine.
7.
Yeah.
Wow, you liked it a lot.
No, I thought these two they actually felt like actual episodes of TV that someone like myself would have watched.
Well, this is my problem. Like this, it was just all. There's no story in the story. It was just like a bunch of stuff that happened, and I spent most of the episode trying to figure out what that was. And I don't know if that's the fault of the episode, because
Are you saying it's our fault for making you watch 2 in the middle?
Well, I might not be wrong there, but it might have warranted a better score had I watched the others. I'm not going to. I'm happy with these 2. That's good. But yeah,
All right. Well, then what do you want to give 3%ers?
I gave it a 5.5. It wasn't that much better.
5.5.
The extra 5% is because there wasn't the flashbacks, so that was a plus.
Yeah, you didn't like
But
the
to be
flashback.
honest, like, and this might not be the fault of the show, because I had gone back from my trip and watched both episodes on Sunday.
Ooh, you watched both back to back?
Back to back.
Big mistake.
At Sunday at 9:30 after being in Vegas for the whole weekend. So I didn't fall asleep, but
And-
I don't
and as
think I
we-
was fully aware of the end of this episode.
As we
in the same
learned,
way.
the worst way to watch Harsh Realm is at 9:30 on a Sunday after being in Vegas for a whole weekend. Courtney's giving it a 5.5. What do you say, Luke?
I'm going to give this one a 6.
It is better.
I enjoyed it better than the other one.
That's a lot better though.
I'm also going to go up a little bit to match my highest of all time as a 7.5.
A Carlotta's Room score. Oh my God.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Very few episodes rate this high for Jordan.
Yeah.
Nothing
I just
happened in this
thought
episode, though.
I thought these were okay TV episodes. I'm telling you got to watch the earlier ones. Holy moly.
You missed out. Last week was better.
Okay, well,
I
maybe I'll
disagree.
give it one
That
more
war
episode.
one?
Was that one?
Did you hear that? That's the answer for that war one.
All right, well,
Boring.
maybe I won't watch it.
Those levels are peaking real nice. All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for the episode. Courtney, thank you so much for coming out and being on the episode, being our inaugural guest.
Thanks
Yeah.
for having me.
Hopefully it wasn't too awful for you.
It was fun. I had a lot of fun. Of course I had fun. I'm hanging out with you guys.
We'll try to bring you back for a better show next time.
I have some ideas.
Oh, good.
Well, we'll consult with those after the show.
Yeah.
Jordan, it was a pleasure as always.
Thank you.
And everybody, thanks for listening. If you want to get a hold of us to talk about Harsh Realm, or, just ask some questions about
Tech War,
Tech War.
Riverworld.
Want to know a little more about Courtney, send us a message.
Yeah.
You can get a hold of us at continuumdrag@gmail.com or follow us on Instagram at continuumdrag and on Twitter at the same handle. All right, you guys. Thanks for coming out, and we'll see everyone who's listening. Oh, I guess we won't. We'll won't see you ever.
You'll hear us next week.
There you go. All right, everybody.
See you later.
Bye.
That was fun, guys.
Continuum Drag is recorded at Astrolab Studios in Toronto, Ontario. Theme music by James Ruxedler. Produced by Jordan Delic and Luke Black. Special thanks to Adam Wheatner, Jeff Hanley, Emily Carter, and Dwayne Wright.